folks. Nope. It's good on your end? Good, good. Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us for the Palisades Fire press event for Friday, January 17th, 2025. My name is Thomas Schutz, Public Information Officer for the Palisades Fire. A quick update on the figures for this incident. We're at 23,713 acres. The fire this afternoon is 31% contained, and we have 4,471 personnel assigned to this incident. We'll go ahead and kick things off with our Operations Section Chief.
Good afternoon, Gabriel Troll, Operations Section Chief for the Palisades incident. All crews are continuing to mop up. The fire has not left its current footprint in all branches of the fire. We're currently doing work down in the Mandeville Canyon area along the structures. The USAR task force are still working north off the PCH, both in the Palisades, Las Flores, and Topanga area. We're also continuing with ongoing damage inspections. And just a quick message, just make sure for everybody out there, know your zone, look up the Genesis app. That's how we're getting out all the information for any evacuation and repop.
Next up, our incident meteorologist.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Rich Thompson, incident meteorologist with the National Weather Service, assigned to the Palisades incident. Forecast-wise, today through the weekend, we're looking for very typical mid-January conditions here across the fire. Going to have a nice southerly onshore sea breeze each day this weekend, bringing in cooler temperatures and higher humidity. So those cooler temperatures, the higher humidity, and the much weaker winds are going to be very good very good for the firefighting efforts this weekend. Unfortunately, beginning Monday, continuing through most of next week, we have a return of Santa Ana winds to the area. Right now, we look like a period offshore winds from Monday through Friday, with the strongest winds expected Monday night and Tuesday, and then again on Wednesday night and Thursday. With those gusty Santa Ana winds, we're also going to have some very dry air across the area. Going to have humidities dropping down into the single digits, and the recoveries at night for those humidities are going to be very, very poor, if anything at all. So it's going to be breezy, going to be very dry out there. So along with those critically dry fuels, since we haven't had any appreciable rain since last April, that sets the stage for development of critical fire weather conditions. And so there is currently a fire weather watch in effect for this area from 10 a.m. Monday until 10 p.m. Tuesday. So again, there is fire weather watch in effect from 10 a.m. Monday until 10 p.m. Tuesday. Then for Wednesday through Friday, there's a very high likelihood those critical fire weather conditions may continue across the area. But right now, we're just focusing on the Monday and Tuesday time frame with that fire weather watch.
I'd now like to invite all the speakers up to the stage. Next up, Los Angeles County Sheriff Department, Commander Din.
Hello. I would like to express my deepest and sincere sympathy to all fire victims across LA County. My name is Min Din, Commander for the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department. Currently serve as one of the Unified Incident Commanders for the Palisades Fire. We have more than 300 personnel from the Sheriff Department, including the search and rescue team, our National Guards members. We are working on the ground to support the range of critical operation. Additionally, the California Highway Patrol has deployed more than 24 officers and 5 supervisors today to assist us with our efforts. These efforts, including looter suppression, roving security patrols, road closures, and humanitarian efforts. We currently have made 17 arrests related to this fire, which involve lootings, unauthorized entry into the emergency area, impersonating a firefighter, as well as possession of weapons, illegal narcotics, and all the charges. Sadly, as of this afternoon, we have 6 confirmed fatalities within the LASD jurisdiction due to the fire. We work collaboratively with LA County Fire Department, Urban Search and Rescue Team, and all the agency. We are conducting ongoing searches and rescue operation in the impacted areas. Our goals is to ensure the safety of the residents, locate any missing persons, and clear any hazards before re-entry is permitted. We understand the community desire to return home, and it's remain our top priority. Many areas are still being actively worked to ensure the safety of our residents and of our fire personnel. Additionally, significant road damage, debris, and hazardous conditions are present in the burn area, further complicating safe entry. LA County Sheriff Department has announced an update for repopulation of impacted communities by the Palisades fire effectively 12 p.m. today, Friday, January 17, 2025. If you live in this area and have been given permission to return to your home, please have proof of residency to avoid any further delay in your re-entry. We ask that you are returning to your home. Please stay vigilant and report any suspicious activities that you may encounter. All the road closure and evacuation area for the Palisades fire remain in effect. For up-to-date information on evacuation zones, please visit protect.genesis.com. I will provide you with the phonetic spelling of this. PROTECT dot GENASYS.com for your reference. We sincerely appreciate the public patience and cooperation during this difficult time. I will be available for any question at a later time. Thank you.
Next up, Jennifer Lazo with the City of Los Angeles Emergency Operations Center.
Good afternoon. My name is Jennifer Lazo with the Emergency Management Department. The City of Los Angeles Emergency Operations Center remains activated at Level 1, its highest level, with representatives from all city departments and leadership from the Los Angeles Fire Department and the Los Angeles Police Department. The recovery team remains focused on the long-term recovery of the people of Los Angeles, and it has a goal of linking those impacted to the resources that they need to be able to return home and deal with the damage. We have resources for everyone, whether or not they have already returned home. At lacity.gov, click on the LA Wildfire Recovery link, where you'll find a variety of forms of assistance, damage assessment claims, and information to help locate pets in the evacuation area. Sometimes, though, you need to talk to someone in person to make those first steps. For that, we have the Disaster Recovery Center located at 10850 Pico Boulevard at the UCLA Research Park. This is a one-stop resource center for residents, business owners, and those who were employed in the impacted area. At this center, you can replace lost vital records, get resources on making your home livable, such as cleaning ash and restoring utilities, and apply for disaster relief loans and assistance from public and nonprofit agencies that can help cover things like current living expenses, food, clothing, and temporary housing. You can replace medication and get mental health counseling and referrals, get assistance for your business, and a variety of other services. Since it has opened, nearly 1,000 households have received assistance from this center, and you can go back again and again to continue to get the services that you need. It's open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and will remain open to support those impacted. More detailed information and links are available at lacity.gov and the Unified LA social media accounts. We've purposefully put this information into many places, the city website, the county website, so that you can easily access and verify what's true. We want to make sure that you have one place that you can go to look for true sources of information during this time of disaster. It's an emotional and frustrating time, and the information does continue to change as the fires evolve and the recovery continues. The city family is doing everything that we can to support you in this time as we all recover together. Thank you so much.
Next up, United States Representative Brad Sherman.
Hello, I've been known for decades as Congressman Brad Sherman from America's best named city, Sherman Oaks. 2 years ago, they added some areas to my district, including all of the Palisades, Malibu, Brentwood, the areas affected by the fire. I want to thank the firefighters, and I want to take an opportunity to thank the international firefighters, since I'm involved in foreign policy. Canada, Mexico, and Israel have all sent contingents. Now, what's on people's minds the most is, can they get back into their homes? Announcement was made yesterday with regard to the following areas, and this is just general. I'm going to get very specific in a second. Nearly all Encino residents are allowed to return. There's a small portion south of the Encino Reservoir that remains under an evacuation order. Brentwood, all the areas east of Canyonback Road, which then turns into North Kentner, are opening to residents. There's a small portion east of North Kentner that remains under order, but there are only about 4 houses in that area. Woodland Hills, anything north of Entronto Drive or north of Topanga Canyon Boulevard, when it becomes a kind of curves and becomes an east-west street, is opening. Topanga area, anything north of Topanga Skyline Drive is opening to residents. And when I say it's opening, I'm talking only to residents now. Others may not be allowed in. Finally, Calabasas, north of Mulholland, is opening to residents. But what you should do, and this is going to change from time to time, a lot of people are anxious. When can I get in? You go to the website. Others have said that website. It's Genesis with an unusual spelling, protect.genesis.com. But when you look at that screen, you may be confused. There are all kinds of flashing lights that are going to say evacuation and warning. But what you need to do, if you can come here just a little closer, is you look at the left-hand side of the screen, you look for the word reason, and you read the next sentence. So in this example, it says open to residents. Don't be confused by the rest of the map. Put in your address and look at the word reason and read that sentence. That will tell you whether you can get back in. It will also tell you whether you can have guests. Now, let's go on to the next. If you can't get in, you're going to want to check on your home by looking at the website at the bottom here, recovery.lacounty.gov/Palisades You can put in your address and get a report from the inspectors that have looked at most of the homes out there and see what shape your property is in. You're, of course, concerned about the security. I've been up there. The security is good. If you have a safe deposit box, the California Bankers Association tells me that it's their understanding that those safe deposit boxes at all the various branch banks have survived, and the National Guard has somebody looking at each one of those. So I know a lot of people are very concerned about their safe deposit boxes. If you want to check on your pet, you call 213-270-8155, and Animal Resources will come, get your keys, and go look at your pet. Postal issues. You want to arrange to have your mail forwarded unless you're going to be returning to your home very soon. You can do that at any post office. If your mail cannot be delivered, it's at your post office. Malibu Post Office is open. Palisades Post Office, go to Rancho Park. Topanga Post Office, go to Santa Monica Post Office. Passports, they're opening up in Westwood at the Federal Building on Tuesday. By appointment only. If you have an urgent need to travel, call us, Congressman Brad Sherman, 818-501-9200. We have the Disaster Resource Center at what used to be called the West Side Pavilion. That's at 850 West Pico. It's open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. A lot of hours. The DMV is there, so if you need, if you need ID, it's a lot easier to deal with the Department of Motor Vehicles than to deal with the State Department and get a passport. If you want to know about dealing with your insurance company, I've got some guidance at bradsherman.house.gov. Taxation. A lot of people concerned about property taxation that have lived in the Palisades for a long time. Under Prop 13, they have a low valuation on their property for property tax purposes. If you rebuild, you can keep that low valuation as long as what you rebuild is pretty much what was destroyed, or I believe it's up to 20% larger. 20% larger. But if you rebuild a mansion, then you didn't have a mansion before, you're going to be subject to property tax reassessment. Income taxation. First, all the deadlines throughout LA County have been extended for income taxation, federal and state, all the way to October 15th. That's for payment, no interest on the payment, and that's for filing. Second, as I'll get to in a second, you're going to be receiving grants from FEMA or for the state. If you get this grant, it is tax-free. You can deduct your casualty loss as an itemized deduction, and you pick it whether you want to put it on your 2004 tax return, even though this is a 2005 fire, or you can put it on your 2005 tax return. You put it on your 2004 tax return, you may help your cash flow right now. You get to deduct as an expense your uninsured loss as long as it doesn't exceed the basis in the property. What's your basis in the property? What you paid to buy the house, improve the house, and what you paid for everything else that was lost at the house. If your insurance proceeds exceed your basis in both your house and the improvements and everything else you lost, you will have capital gain. However, if you've lived in the house for a couple of years, that gain is exempt from tax. $250,000 for single people, $500,000 for joint return. Now let's go on to the next slide, because a lot of people are uninsured and they say, I want some money from my government. You can get $770 right up front. Then you're going to have to show FEMA what insurance coverage you have. You can then get up to $43,600 for replacing your house. Another $10,000 then is triggered as the state's match. There's $43,600 for replacing everything other than your house, your furniture and your car. And so that's $97,970 as a maximum, plus substantial rental assistance if you have to rent a place. Obviously, you can't rebuild a house even for $97,900. That's why I've got to go to Congress and do my best to get this increased for those who have suffered in the Los Angeles fires. I've got 10, maybe a dozen members of Congress coming here tomorrow. We're going to take them up to the Palisades and mobilize the effort to have Congress do more than what I'm describing here. In addition, to the grants, there are loans. $500,000 to rebuild your house, $100,000 to replace your cars and furniture. The interest rate is 4% or less, usually less. 12 months you don't have to pay, but the interest is running. What about businesses and nonprofit organizations? Can borrow up to $2 million. Usually the interest rate is 4% or less. It can be higher. 12 months you don't have to pay, make the payments, but the interest is running. And that is to deal with not only the physical losses, but the lost sales and economic injury. So I've gone on for a long time. I want to thank President Biden for doing absolutely everything that is allowed for him to do, mostly to make sure that our government agencies are paid for their firefighter costs and the rebuilding effort, including Palisades High School. but we're going to have to do a lot more. And finally, we've got to build back better. Current state law says if you're building back in the Palisades, it has to be up to the code, the fire prevention code that otherwise wasn't, that's applicable to all buildings built after 2008. We know that fire code works. We haven't analyzed this fire, but we saw in Paradise, Northern California, 55% of those homes that met the new code survived. Only 18% of those who didn't meet the new code survived. We're going to have to do a lot of thinking about how to make our society more safe from fire and more resilient. I'm Congressman Brad Sherman. Thank you for letting me speak way too long.
Next up, Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, Lindsay Horvath.
Thank you very much. Our focus in this moment is keeping people safe while we repopulate the evacuated areas and providing clear communication on who can come back and when. We're prioritizing access to residents' homes that survived the fire to allow time for the EPA and relevant agencies, including utilities, to do their cleanup work. This work is extensive, it is complicated, and it is essential. Understand this is not returning to normal. You may or may not have water access, power, or gas. Utility infrastructure is damaged throughout the fire-impacted region, and time is needed to effectively address all of these issues. When you return, be prepared to arrive with an N95 mask. Airborne toxins remain in these areas, and your health and your safety are critical. Be prepared to show ID or proof of residency. This is why our disaster recovery centers are helpful centers to provide you with that documentation if you do not already have it. You can coordinate with our sheriff and National Guard to ensure resident access is smooth in these allowed areas. We are coordinating with them so they can communicate with you. Our impacted community members deserve safe and swift access to their property. That is our goal. We will be here in our 3rd District office to walk with you every step of the way. There are many steps. The status of underground utilities, safety of the PCH, hillsides and mudslide vulnerabilities, clearing out this toxic debris, all of it will be a long road, but we are in it for the long haul with you. We've heard concern expressed that when the cameras go away, people will not be there. We will be there. Our 3rd District team will be there every step of the way. With regard to services, once again, our Disaster Recovery Center is open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. I visited again yesterday. Resources from city, county, state, and federal government are there to help you. This is also a reminder that FEMA assistance requires that you apply by March 10th. You only have 60 days from the time the president signs that. That is March 10th. And from that point, you also have 18 months to complete the paperwork. So please apply ASAP. What does this mean? If you receive a rejection notice, it means you have applied. If you have a question about your application status, you can come to a disaster recovery center and they will clarify it for you. Also at these centers, LA County Public Works and Planning are available to help with your rebuilding plans. LA Public Health and Mental Health are available with supportive services, access to prescriptions, and more. We also strongly advocate seeking mental health supports, especially for our young people, for whom this is incredibly challenging to talk through and to support. Our 3rd District team is also on site at this disaster recovery center. So any questions that you have for our office, you can call, you can use our website, but you also have our staff there in person. I want to reiterate our focus on price gouging issues. The Attorney General was here on site yesterday reiterating his commitment to ensuring that we are not seeing people taken advantage of who have already lost and endured so much. Whatever you are seeing, please report it to oag.ca.gov/report. If you prefer to call, the 800 number is 800-593-8222. These reports are taken very seriously and all are being investigated. Finally, I want to be more specific about the neighborhoods that have been updated in repopulation efforts. First, evacuation orders that have been reduced to resident-only access. Mulholland Drive, south of Reseda Boulevard. Mandeville Canyon Road, north of Arbutus Drive. Mandeville Canyon Road, south of Arbutus Drive to West Sunset, and north of West San Vicente Boulevard to Amalfi Drive. Tumbleweed Day Camp. For resident-only access, reduced to evacuation warning. South and southwest of Havenhurst Avenue to north of Calneva Drive, and north of Mulholland Drive from Calneva Drive to west of Sepulveda Tunnel. Adlin Place from Adlin Road to Havenhurst Avenue, and north of Mulholland Drive at Encino Hills Drive. East of Canyonback Road. South of Mulholland Drive from Encino Hills Drive to the 405, and north of Park Lane Circle. Mountain Gate Drive is open. Promontory Road to Mount St. Mary's Fire Road. Mission Canyon Open Space. And finally, the evacuation warning has been reduced to normal condition. South of Mulholland Drive to north of Olmus Drive. South of Ventura Boulevard from Louise Avenue to Havenhurst Avenue, and south to Adlin Road. East of the 405 to west of Saugus Avenue, and south of Greenleaf Street to Mulholland Drive. South of Cassiano Road at Mulholland Drive to Bel Air Crest Road at the 405. East of the 405 from north of West Sunset Boulevard to north Sepulveda Boulevard at the on-ramp. South of Ventura Boulevard to north of Valley Vista Boulevard, and east of Havenhurst Avenue to the 405. South of Mulholland Drive to north of Shallon Road, south of Woodvale Road and Valley Vista Boulevard to north of Mulholland Drive and Sepulveda Boulevard. Thank you for your patience and your cooperation, and once again, thank you to all those on the front lines working to keep us safe.
Thank you to all our presenters. We'd now like to open it up to our media partners. If you have a question, raise your hand. My partner, Andy Van Sciver, will bring you a mic. Say your name, your question. We'll find the best person to answer it. I'm right behind you with the mic. Any questions?
Amy Powell from ABC7, and forgive me if you addressed some of this right at the beginning, but is there a timetable in terms of, for the people who are not being allowed to repopulate, whether it's going to be either days or weeks for them?
CAL FIRE leadership is in charge here at Incident Command, and they make determinations each day about which areas can be repopulated and what conditions are safe for folks to do so. So I would ask a representative from CAL FIRE to talk about what that process is so people can understand what is happening here in order for them to be allowed back into their neighborhoods and what that process looks like.
I'm Justin McComb. I'm one of the incident commanders for the Unified Incident Command Group. In terms of the timelines, you know, we were successful in being able to repopulate some of the areas around the perimeter of the fire. The interior of the fire that's still left has a tremendous amount of damage, but we're partnering with all of our utility companies and all of the other cooperators from roads and gas and water, and we'll get there. It's going to be a tough task, but we've got all the people we need here on site. But at this time, I can't give you a timeline.
Go Couple of things. EPA has been given a major grant by FEMA to come out here. There's going to be a ton of work for them to do to make sure the area is safe from toxic chemicals, whether it be household cleaners, whether it be building supplies, whether it be gardening supplies, etc. Second, FEMA does provide substantial aid to pay for temporary housing that can last for a very long time, years. And you go to the FEMA site and apply there. But I know people are so anxious to get back into their homes. Those who are actually within the fire perimeter are going to have to wait a while.
Any additional questions? Thank you very much for joining us and for the questions. That concludes our presentation. A reminder that we do have a virtual community meeting tonight at 6:30. Link is available on the Palisades Fire website, fire.ca.gov, and click on Palisades Fire. You'll see the link there for the YouTube link. Tonight at 6:30, virtual community meeting, and through the weekend as well. Thank you.
I'm Mark Pastrella, Director of Los Angeles County Public Works, with a message for residents affected by the devastating fires across Los Angeles County. For those of you who are still evacuated, I am so sorry for your loss and for your trouble during these times. It must be difficult to be displaced from your homes, and our hearts are with you during this challenging time. Rebuilding after a wildfire takes time, careful planning, and collaboration. My message to you from the state and local agencies involved in the recovery process is, you are not alone. I know you're eager to return to your homes and neighborhoods. We ask for your patience as affected roads and utilities are assessed and the safety of homes and other structures is determined. Once that work has been done, property owners will be allowed to return. I strongly urge you not to attempt to remove hazardous fire debris yourself. Post-fire debris can contain toxic materials, including asbestos, lead, mercury, and other chemicals that are released when structures burn. These materials pose serious health risk if handled improperly or inhaled. So take extra precautions and make sure you use the proper protective equipment, including goggles, gloves, and a mask, specifically an N95 mask. The next stage is the removal of fire debris, which is a multi-step process. The first step is hazardous materials assessment. This process includes fire inspectors going property by property to provide the necessary clearances for safe removal of fire debris. It's a service provided at no cost to property owners and an essential step before actual debris removal begins. Step 2 is a safe debris removal. The county will launch a debris removal program to assist property owners in safely removing debris. Detailed information about this program will be available soon. After debris removal is complete, the rebuilding process can begin. LA County is dedicated to streamlining permitting and building processes to help you rebuild your homes and communities. I know this process can feel overwhelming, but together we will rebuild stronger and safer communities in LA County. Visit recovery.lacounty.gov for ongoing updates and guidance.